Hey, Tilly.
Hi, Clay.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
I thought you and I might just sit down and have a bit of a chat.
I like that idea.
There's a bit of sentiment around the place that things are a little bit quiet at the moment for some industries.
Yep, I've heard that.
Yeah. Maybe we can actually talk to somebody. Before we do, how long have you been in business?
21 years.
Wow.
Someone asked me that question the other day, so yeah, made me feel really old.
You're not that old.
Yeah,
I
21
mean, you're old
years.
enough.
How long have you been in business, Clay?
Well,
For yourself?
for this one, I've been in business for just a bit over 8 years.
And what were you doing before that?
Teaching at TAFE. I was teaching diploma levels of management and business, and of course my Cert 4 in small business management. Apart from that though, sales and marketing has been my background for the last 30 years since I've been out of school. So
30 years since school.
yeah.
Won't do the maths.
No, don't.
Yeah, no, I
Oh,
won't.
is it 30? Must be it's close to
Yeah.
that. So back to the environment today. Why don't we talk to somebody who's lived through, I not say tough times, but economically, with ups and downs in business.
Yeah,
You and I have both been through it,
we have.
but that's just you and me. Why don't we actually talk to somebody else?
Yep, I can think of somebody who's been through several what people would consider economic downturns and come out the other end of it and is still here today and still in business.
Yeah. Why'd you pick this person?
Because she's resilient,
Yeah.
and because she has been through tough times and she has come out the other side, and that's and she's in an industry that many would consider luxury, a non-necessity, a non-essential industry, and that's usually people's discretionary spending, which often disappears during economic
It's the
downturn.
first thing to go, isn't it?
That's right. So to be in that kind of an industry and to survive for 13 years in business,
Wow.
she's done really well. And yes,
I reckon we get her in. What do you think?
I think so too.
Righto.
Yeah.
Righto, Till. Who have we got?
This is Ellie from Luminosa. How are you, Ellie?
Good, thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Ellie and I actually haven't met before. But I
Haven't
think-
you?
No.
Oh, Ellie, this is Clayton. Clay,
Hi.
this is Ellie.
So we thought we'd get you here and have a bit of a chat. So before we get into that, did you bring something with you that is a bit of a talking point, something that we can learn from you today?
Yep.
What's that?
Look, Tilly did ask me to bring something along and my brain's really frazzled at the moment. I actually completely forgot. But I did put on the Lumi shirt today, and our logo is an interesting topic of conversation because Luminosa, people say SL,
Yeah, what does
the
it
hell
say?
does
Yeah.
it mean? And
It's got an S and
I
an L.
don't-
yeah, so there's a little bit of a story behind why we did it.
Righto. Why don't
Yeah.
you tell us the...
Tell us the story.
So when we were doing our branding back in the day, many years ago, was a very different vision for what I wanted for Lumi than what it is today. And they did the logos up and it's Salon Luminosa. And Luminosa also means shining light. So it was also the initials of shining light as well. So yeah.
Isn't that great?
I've been shopping with Ellie for a decade and I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Yeah.
A lot of people don't even notice.
No.
They're like, "That's
I
new."
did. The first
I
thing I
knew it
did
was
is...
SL.
You're like, oh,
I
yeah.
thought, what's that S doing there? But
Yeah.
now we know.
Yeah, I didn't know because at one point it was Luminosa Love and I know that that's your Instagram
That's all our handles, yeah.
I still had no idea. I just thought it was Luminosa.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was kind of a play on that, and then the shining light came through, and that was
beautiful.
kind of what we were all about, really. Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
great.
Well, we've got a couple of questions for you, a couple of preloaded questions. So
Yep.
you've got like 24 hours to prepare.
Not even.
This is very rushed.
And then my kids were nightmares last night, so.
Oh, no.
So ask the first question if you
Yeah,
like, please.
Ellie, I'd love to know. This is going to be a hard question, but can you take us back to one of the hardest moments in your business during what some other people might consider an economic or a tough economy?
Yeah, definitely. So I think everyone harps on about it of COVID times, but it's still super fresh and I still feel like we're really feeling the effects of that time as well. So obviously COVID was a really tough time, but for me it was both terrifying and super exciting as well. It was really inspirational watching how people diversified their businesses and really thought out of the box and thought on their feet, and watching those businesses thrive in those times as well as those that just, shut up shop because they, just wasn't working for them. Yeah.
What was going through your head at the time, and how did you survive? What did it look like?
Yeah, definitely. So look, it was definitely challenging. I had some stuff going on in my personal life as well at the time too, so it was like a bit of a double whammy of, you know, effects happening at the time. But I think for me, you know, I had a team to think about, I had family to think about, and I don't like failure. So for me, it was, you know, think on my feet and do whatever we could to just make it work. And it was, I really enjoyed that time, to be honest, looking back. Yeah.
Is that still real to you? For me, it feels like a blur, and it feels like a long. Well, sometimes it feels like a long time, and other times it's actually not
Yesterday.
not that far away.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a real blur. And you know, I'll rewind, and we'd only been in business probably 3 odd years.
Yeah.
So, is that still real for you? Is it still, or does it take a conversation like this to actually go, oh yeah, that's right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's definitely still lots of conversations around it, and I think like the feedback is just that it was such a crazy time. Like nobody had ever experienced anything like it before. There was, you know, a lot of fear around what was actually going to happen. It felt like the world was just closing down. But, you know, it was a really nice time to reset and refresh and, you know, relook at everything, and also to have the time and space to be able to do that without the busyness of everyday life too. It was really quite lovely. Yeah.
It was a forced holiday, but a lot of
Yeah.
us had when we were
Yeah.
in lockdown.
Wasn't it just?
I built a pizza oven. Yeah, it was great.
How's that working out with you?
It died.
Aw.
It's gone. It was a major failure. Yeah, I think it's fresh in all of our minds.
Yeah, and sometimes it feels a long way away, and other times it's still really raw.
Sorry,
Question 2, when many businesses were pulling back on spending, especially things like marketing and advertising, I reckon they're like a luxury item too, it seems to be. That's the first thing that goes. How was your approach different?
Look, there's definitely been times where we've had to pull back on those things as well. And, you know, for small business, you know, like over the years we've looked at different things, and sometimes things just not affordable. So I really love that marketing agencies like yourself are adapting to what's happening in the world as well, and what small businesses are capable of doing themselves versus not as well. So, you know, obviously we do lean into things like AI and Canva and utilising those tools. We do create a lot of our content in-house, but there's things we can't do. So we can't build a website. There's no way I could build a logo that's good. You know, all of our branding stuff as well we do, and it's really nice to support other local businesses that support us, and I think it's okay to ask for help. That's something that I've really learned, and outsourced. You know, I do it both in my personal and professional life, and it's the best thing I've ever done is learning to let people do what they're good at doing, and then I can focus on what I like to do and do it really well. Yeah.
It's important that you say, I like what you said there about you know, doing what you're good at, because we all have our you know, our areas of genius, and there's other areas that we just suck at.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
But recognising that and then getting some help and asking for that help.
Yeah, definitely.
So, question 3, Till.
Because I've had some hectic days too. I think we've all
I
had
know,
a very
you've been busy
week, and Clay's
bees.
been busy too.
Yeah.
We'd love to know about specific marketing or visibility strategies that help you to keep the clients walking through the door, especially when foot traffic was drying up, because especially during the COVID times, people weren't allowed to walk past your shop.
Yeah.
So how did you keep that flowing?
Yeah, look, we don't get a lot of foot traffic, weirdly, where we are anyway, because we're tucked away, and we still get feedback that people don't even know we exist as well, even though Luminosa turns 13 next week. So I think for us, you know, we've relied a lot on word of mouth and really creating community, like reaching out to people and keeping that connection active. Going back to COVID times, like we were really blessed to have our online store up and running and already super active. So we had such a community connection with, you know, people just wanting to support us, so we survived, and I'm sure people bought stuff that they didn't even need in that time.
Yep.
And we just shifted, and the thing I loved the most was I was able to go and do hand deliveries. You know, I remember I think that was the first time I ever came in here as well, was dropping something off, and I got to keep that connection and those conversations going as well, which people really resonated with too. I think using the downtime as well just to keep creating content, show up super authentic, and just staying really true to our values as well has kept us busy. Yeah.
Did a great job of that. I purchased during those times, and I remember getting your emails and going, oh, yeah. Apply that.
What was something that you purchased during that time?
Yep.
Now you look back and go, what the hell? What did I buy that for? Do you
Oh, look, mine was just supporting local, really. You know, I loved, that Fitzy's were doing, the take-home steak packs and Sante were doing the take-home cocktail packs. And, it was really cool to see. So we were like, jumped on and we did take-home self-care packs and stuff like that, all the things that people couldn't go out and do. And people were really craving that, something to do at home, plus getting creative with date nights and how they were showing up and stuff too. So
it was a weird time, wasn't it? Because we couldn't go out, or remember the times of complete lockdown. You just couldn't go anywhere. But I think we were a little bit sheltered in Toowoomba too, with just that. Whereas Lockyer Valley was swept up in that.
I lived there.
Queensland.
I lived down there.
Well, the kids were down there too, so we had issues there.
But I really feel sorry for people who lived in Melbourne.
Definitely.
They just
yeah. I'm from UK originally, and it was awful over there too. Like, especially everything so close together, and sounds like hell to me.
Talking about your brand, you you did build a brand that is now recognisable, but you are almost a luxury item.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go to not me. I can go to Kmart and buy
Your skincare?
my skincare.
Please don't.
No.
Kmart skincare will kill you.
Yeah.
Don't buy that crap.
Right. But you've built a brand around a product that can be considered a luxury item.
Yeah, definitely.
There's been some challenges there. Can you tell us a little bit about how people's budgets adjusted during COVID, and now compare that with today, and what's changed, and how did you get through it to this point now?
Yeah, definitely. Looking at COVID times, we just shifted our buying. So it was people obviously weren't going out, they weren't doing their makeup, no one was going to work. Again, they weren't wearing makeup or tanning. So they wanted self-care items. So we leaned into just shifting what our buying was, and that worked really effectively. Nowadays, with the cost of living crisis, we're finding, feedback that normally they'd come in and they'd buy 3 or 4 items and they would be like, I can only afford 1 this week. So it's kind of, again, just shifting the way we're doing things. In saying that, we're in the bridal industry too, and we also offer kids pamper parties, and they're 2 areas that are just booming. Like the average wedding in Australia is $30,000, and, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that we're a part of. So I think it's just targeting our marketing where the money still is, and that kind of softens the blow everywhere else as well.
That's actually a really interesting point. We often see, we do have businesses that are struggling in our region and across the country, but there are still businesses that not only thriving, that's the business side, but there's also people that still got money.
Absolutely.
So, some of us are doing it tough, and I recognise that, and we've been through it, but there are still people through those tough times that have got money.
Yeah.
And so you just touched on, you've obviously moved sideways on a couple of occasions to still look at, the bridal industry's got some cash. Let's go over there and focus on that.
And even like kids' pamper parties, like I absolutely love doing them. And it's, as a mum myself, mum, we're all burnt out. We don't want to think about what we've got to do. If I can just pay someone, $300 and it's done for me and everything's there and we just rock up and the mess gets cleaned up after I'm winning, and people are willing to pay for that sort of stuff, just ease, life's hard at the moment. They want something.
How much mess can you make?
Oh, it's
a
lot.
You can have glitter.
Right,
There's glitter
I don't know how you feel about
everywhere.
glitter.
I love
You love
glitter.
your glitter,
I
don't
And sticky
do.
fingers on all the mirrors.
Oh, no, and so many mirrors too. Oh, gosh.
I don't like the mirrors.
I love the mirrors. I think mirrors are great.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, I'll shut your face. Yeah, that's brilliant. And what part did beautiful imagery? Well, what part does beautiful imagery play in like the bridal industry?
Yeah, definitely. Like weddings are a tricky one in terms of how we market, like because we're seeing lots of these beautiful styled shoots and stuff, which are absolutely gorgeous, but it's not real life. So we tend to try and get real on-set stuff as well. We've got it actually built into our contracts now that we, will take photos on the day and video. Obviously, people can still decline that if that's not the vibe, but I feel like people want to be a part of something these days, and they're happy to, they want you to use their wedding day to promote your business and give you really beautiful feedback. So we've had tripods set up at weddings and stuff like that, filming timestamps and stuff now too. Obviously, we're really blessed that we generally will get amazing professional photos back from all of the incredible photographers in Toowoomba as well, and surrounds, so we can use that as well. So it's a bit of both in bridal. In terms of other things that we do, like we've obviously used you, Tilly, for photos. Other amazing photographers like Teresa Hall's done photos for us before, and there is power in having those different types of content, I think, from what we can do in salon ourselves versus having those professional images.
I just want to touch on professional versus non-professional images. and the importance of having professional. And I think we can all agree that having professional photos is important for your business to showcase and highlight what you do. But the other end is having some real, natural,
Authentic
raw,
content.
authentic photos. And I think we're going to, with AI coming in hard and fast.
I think AI is great, just not the photos it's producing. Goodness me.
No, but I think we're going to go back the other way. I think we've got a way to go where we're going to see a lot of AI generated content.
Yeah.
The stuff I'm listening to and watching to is they're saying we're going to have it for a while, but it's going to get to a point where we actually want real again.
Yeah. See, we've always been a bit different, had a point of difference there as well. Like, we've never edited any of our in-salon photos of clients. It's just something that doesn't align with my values at all, to change the way someone looks or have them think that I've thought they didn't look good enough by themselves. So we probably lose a bit of business from it because we don't have these glowing, beautiful, you know, edited photos all over our page. But we also get a lot of clients because they want real, they want to see texture in the skin, and it's so much more relatable. And that's the vision that we're wanting to show off too, that you're beautiful just the way you are, really. Yeah.
I feel like that would be good for retention though, because if I see retouched images on an Instagram page of an artist and I go to them and then they do my skin and then I look in the mirror and I see real texture, I'm going to go, hang on, I don't look like all of those 23-year-olds on their Instagram channel, and then I'm not going to go back to them. So I think that authenticity has served you well in retaining customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's great.
One of the last questions we've got for you was, if you had to invest in something right now, what would it be?
Look, in terms of marketing, look, we turn 13 next week,
Happy birthday.
which is super
You're
exciting.
a teenager.
I am.
Are you going to be a grumpy little teenager?
No,
or
no.
well behaved?
My grumpy years are done. But I think, you know, we're sort of really leaning into, you know, it's been quite a while since we did do our original branding. The vision has changed a lot, where I'm at in life and business and what we're sort of looking towards for the future. Probably we need to do some tweaks. Our website definitely needs a refresh as well. Just all those little things, just going back to basics, I think, and realigning the vision and putting some money where all of those things are that we're wanting to work towards. And I think that's...
How do you budget for marketing?
Ooh, look, I'm not great at budgeting. Not great with money at all.
Women aren't great at budgeting. Girl math.
I just think
math.
like what we have come in generally will go back out on the business still 13 years later. You know, it's kind of like, you know, our air conditioner's broken at the moment. So it's like, okay, what do we need to do here to buy a new air conditioner? Or, you know, we want to do new PR packages for the wedding vendors and stuff that we want to send out. So it's like, okay, where are we at with that? And then it's just kind of like, we'll chip away at this and we'll get some come in and it'll go back out. They're not really a set budget, but I think, you know, it's just what our priorities are at the time, really. Yeah.
And you do what you can when you
can. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, there's percentages getting around where you should be putting X amount of percent aside of your total revenue in marketing.
Yeah.
It was funny, I spoke to a business about 12, 18 months ago, and I gave them the advice on that percentage, and it depends on where your business is at, so I'm not going to call the percentage today, but it was a percentage. Anyway, I thought, oh, well, they're never going to come back to me. Anyway, fast forward to a few weeks ago, they came back to me and knocked on the door and came in for a meeting, and he said, I said, so have you got a bit of a budget put aside? Yeah, I took your advice.
Aww. I
so
love that.
I put that percentage away, and now I've got this budget.
Yeah, that's
and
so good. Maybe that's what I need to do.
It was just a little bit. It was a little bit often.
Yeah.
And it was over an account that he didn't know, forgot about, but it had an automatic, you know, setup.
Yeah.
And now he can refresh his website. He can afford to do some socials and things like that. So
I wish I was organised.
Yeah.
So if there's one bit of advice I've got for a business is to dedicate an amount of your revenue.
Well, I guess we do it for everything else, don't we?
Absolutely.
You know, you do have your percentages for everything else is done separately. So
and why should marketing be any different?
Absolutely.
And in these times, and I suppose that's the point of today's conversation, Jill, is putting money aside for marketing. The first thing that goes in most businesses when the times are tough is marketing.
And
which is crazy because that's where you really need to put your money, because that's where you're going to get return on investment as well.
That's right.
So.
Plus during economic hard times when everybody else is tightening their belt, particularly your competition, if you spend your money on marketing during that time, you can dominate the industry.
Absolutely.
Because people are still watching, people are still shopping, people are still spending. There is a lot of money in Toowoomba, there's a lot of money everywhere. even though it's tough for some people, there's always going to be someone spending. And if you're not in their face, your competitor will step up
Yeah,
and be in their
absolutely.
face.
Yeah.
That's the point of it, isn't it? Is really not only showing up
Yeah.
through good and bad times, is that consistency.
Yeah.
And we
Yes.
teach that in our client base as well, as being consistently, always showing up and being authentic,
Yeah.
being
Yes.
authentic yourself.
Yeah.
And we find a lot of people are just putting out false narratives about
AI.
who they are, or AI. And I just shy away from that in our business. We
Yeah.
are authentic.
Definitely.
We employ local people. There's
Yeah.
real people that you can come and have a cup of tea with who's
Yeah.
doing your website or whatever.
Yeah.
I think people can smell it though.
I do too. And one thing that I've loved about you guys here too, I remember having a conversation with Emma when she first started coming into the salon, and, you know, she was really open to just talking to me about marketing and stuff. It wasn't like, oh, come have a meeting with me and pay me. It was, you know, and for that I'll always recommend you guys, because, you know, she was just so genuine and authentic, and has always been happy and willing to share her knowledge as well. So I've loved that too.
She goes all right.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. I think she's definitely your better half. Yeah, better.
Depends which person you ask. She's definitely my better half. Well, thank you for coming in and having a chat on the pink couch.
Thanks again for having me.
Really, so we really hope that. Tell you what's the highlight for you out of this conversation?
Oh, just looking at Ellie's gorgeous face. She's so beautiful. I'm really proud of your business.
Thank you.
13 years and
Yeah.
you're still going. And you've got 3 spaces in that very expensive arcade. I know what your rent costs. And you're keeping women employed in the region.
Yeah.
You're keeping women pampered in the region. You're just doing an amazing job.
Thank
I'm
you.
so proud of you.
Thanks.
And I love that when we go to an event, Emma gets all of her makeup
Yeah.
done in your salon, and she comes back and looks amazing, doesn't
She's
she?
Yeah,
amazing.
It's
she's
just-
so
She does
gorgeous.
look
So,
Yeah.
you know, she rocks it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
So,
a great job of my makeup too. Yeah.
You make our female people in our industry and our families
You be
look
careful
beautiful.
what you say.
Oh,
We're beautiful without the
And
makeup.
exactly,
Clay.
yeah.
That's
And that, I
just
think
Some
that-
might need a little bit more.
I think that's our, like, you know, that's our motto though, is you come in not to look good. We're
Not
going
to
to
look
make
a
you
different
feel
person.
good. Yeah, like we just want to boost people's confidence and make them feel as beautiful as they already are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tilly, I think this has been fun.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been
Ellie.
really good to talk to you and have a bit of an informal chat. Some of it was planned, but it's really good to get to know you and talk about what you've been through and how you've got there. So we really hope that our audience,
Yeah.
you know, takes
Some
the time.
people who look at this on the internet.
Yeah,
I guess.
those 3
Yeah,
people.
my
There's,
mum.
you know,
All my
appreciate-
friends now.
Yeah, sweet.
So
Yeah.
thanks for joining
7
us.
people. Yeah,
Thanks, Til.
thanks, Clay.
And
Thanks,
we'll catch
guys.
you another time.
Yeah.
Over and out.
God.